Hello, everyone. Doing a paint and parlay tonight. And I know that Tim Kalinowski was supposed to be with us, the author of a few different war games, including Legends of the High Seas. He had an event that prevented him from joining us today. So I'll continue on with discussion on my own. Today I am painting some British artillery for French and Indian War. I've got 10 models here that are approximately 28 millimeter scale. Okay, and tricorned infantry. The interesting thing about artillerymen for the British Army in that period had blue coats, which is interesting. And what's even more interesting is the French Army in the same time period, their artillery guys had red coats. Just to jazz things up, I suppose. Just to make things a little more complicated, I guess. All right. Now, a lot of people have strong opinions on what paints to use when painting miniatures. I'm a little bit of a cheapskate, so I get my paints at a place called Walmart, which is a place in the United States here, known for bargain brand items as well as paints. So it's paints I'm using are not the highest quality in the world. Just a moment here.
Okay, cool.
Yep, so now I'm painting up these artillery guys. Yeah, for the last few months I've been painting up French and Indian War miniatures. The unit I painted up right before these artillerymen was a group of Rangers, Rogers Rangers, with majority of them I painted with green coats. Make them a kind of an irregular type of unit the way I painted them, so they're not uniform, more or less. So, well, a majority of them have green coats, but some of them have brown coats and whatnot, just to give it a little bit of variety. Because from what I understand, the Rangers they were kind of a unit that went by their own tune, and that tune wasn't necessarily as uniform as the British Army would have liked. Reading about the French and Indian War in a this book up. Book's name is Empires Collides, and in this book, it explains that it has an introduction by William M. Fowler Jr. Editor was Ruth Shepard, but it's got a lot of different authors in this book because it's a compilation book of Osprey publishing. So in the past, there was like 4 or 5 different books, and they're all combined into this one here. This is a good book to get because I mean it saves you a bunch of money if you can get all of this, because it'll be one book that's worth the amount of 5 or 6 different Osprey books. So it's a good one. Good one to get. Anyways, the reading that I was reading in there about the Rangers is that there were some commanders that were schooled in the European style of warfare in the period, and they looked down on the Rangers because they thought them as undisciplined. There are some folks that saw in the Rangers potential for warfare outside the box, so to speak. And that's what's interesting about the French and Indian War as opposed to doing straight up 7 Years' War. A lot of irregular type of units that do their own thing. You have a lot of skirmishers, and it's just, and they go into their own for that area of the world, America, since it's heavily wooded in that time period, and the weather was extreme, and there's hardly any civilized areas for it in. So when they did have were able to establish fortifications, then obviously they can have a regular garrison stockaded. On the American or colonialist / British side, you had units like the Rangers, and later on in the war, the British Army adapted the Ranger tactics with troops converted from the regulars to be some of the first light infantry in the British Army. So those light infantry units paved the way for units in the future that would be light skirmishing units. Yeah. Yeah, they called them bobbies, those light infantry guys. It's pretty cool, neat stuff. Now, the British, they had to do a bit of learning through the war to okay, just a moment. All right. Well,
I'm just being honest, Tony.
just a moment here. All right. So, that's some interesting stuff. So, yeah, before I painted up the Rangers, I painted up some Bobbies, the light infantry for the British. Now, my next thing after this would be starting to paint up the officers for the British Army. And I've got a model of Wolf, and then some other mounted officers to paint. And that'll be the last of the British Army that I'll be painting for the French anymore. Now, if you've been paying attention to the channel, before I painted any of the British, I actually painted up my Indians. And I've got another project with the Indians that I just started. And that is making a village with wigwams and a stockade enclosure. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to have some cornfields up, and also a field of pumpkins. So I'm going to use the fenced-in areas that I made for my Japanese game. For the fenced-in fielded areas for the Indians. And that can actually be used not just for the French and anymore, but that stockade and the wigwams can be used for an earlier period, like the Viking time period, which I eventually intend on getting my Vikings painted for to get that going too. But focus. Working on the British right now, and then I'll be working on the French after this. Now, this weekend, this Saturday, I intend on playing a game of Star Wars Imperial, Star Wars Armada, which is the Star Wars fleet game. I find that game very fun, and I think that would be a lot of fun to get involved with. I also have a large collection of X-Wing I like to play from time to time, but I'd like to actually get more involved with playing epic games of X-Wing. Since I have plenty of fighters as well as the epic ships like Corvette, on the Tan of 4. And I've got also some other ships too, like the transport, the Imperial Salt Carrier now, and I also have the Imperial Corvette, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, I just recently got the Imperial Fighters 2 for the Star Wars Armada. So just like the Imperial Fighters and the Rebel Fighters, I intend on spraying them down and painting them up for the game. Because unfortunately, they come unpainted. All the capital ships in the Armada game come painted, but come unpainted. So I'm going to go ahead and rectify that. I'm kind of excited to get these guys done. One step closer to being finished with the British Army. Yeah. I had started painting the artillery pieces too. I'm going to focus on the crew tonight. I'm thinking that these are either 4-pounders or 6-pounders. Kind of thinking that they're 4-pound guns. They don't look like siege weapons to me. And all these models are from Old Glory Miniatures in their 25 millimeter range, but they're large 25 millimeters, so they can stand next to your typical 28 millimeter without much problem. The French and Indian War range of Old Glory is one of their better ranges. I was pretty impressed with them when I first saw them. And that was actually about 20 years ago over at Historicon when it was over in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was impressed with those models back then, but at that time I was into 15 millimeter onyx, so I didn't jump on it because I figured it was just another black powder period. And I, at the time, was more focused on more grand battles than fighting. These days, as I'm getting older, I'm actually appreciating skirmish wargaming more than the grand battles that I've done in my youth. So another topic I wanted to discuss was websites I like to visit while I'm online. Now, obviously, I like to peruse YouTube for different wargaming things. But I also like to go to the web adventureforum.de. And that is a fantastic resource of talented wargamers that have taken the hobby to the next level, and it gives me a source of as I see some of the projects that people do, and they really take it and take it to the next step. Uh, when I was younger, I was a typical war gamer where I was just painting up just models and wouldn't pay too much attention to terrain. You know, I'd maybe put some books underneath the cloth, and then that would be a hill or something along those lines. But as I grow older, I tend to appreciate good terrain, and I spend the extra effort in building new worlds, so to speak. I find that world building is fun. Reason why I'm spending extra time building an Indian village for muskets and tomahawks, is I figure, hey, you know, I'm gonna start focusing on the wilderness and who better to make buildings for would be the Native Americans and do a wigwam village surrounded by a stockade. Now, I've already made a burnt out log cabin, so I thought that would be appropriate to have on the same table as the Indian village to show that, hey, you know, we're not going to stand for someone building stuff too close to their village, you know? So that's one of the things I like about making terrain is terrain in such a way I can make a story from the terrain, you know, and you know, one can go, hey, you know, those settlers settled a little bit too close to that village for comfort, and so natives took action. And I thought that'd be kind of a neat touch, just to say, hey, this is what happened in the past. Now, another reason why I'm focusing on the Indians first is that the crafting of the wigwams um, uh, can be more organic than European buildings. And since I'm kind of a beginner at crafting buildings, start with something more organic. That way, if I make a mistake, it's not noticeable. So I'm making wigwams right now, which you know, there's no sharp lines and 90-degree angles or anything I have to worry about. But after I take care of that, I will probably start making some log cabins that'll be on the other far side of the table, and possibly a blockhouse that I'll scratch build. Now, the materials I use for making the log cabins and the blockhouse is not your typical MDF terrain that most people these days are into. I can appreciate you know, the MDF terrain, and I've seen some fantastic modeling done with that. But I want to go one step further and make sure the terrain actually has more depth and more texture than the flat surfaces of MDF. And that's one reason why I want to scratch build my own terrain, to get the enjoyment out of actually making something of a higher level. Andre, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself, man?
Doing good.
Sorry I'm late.
No worries. I'm painting up some French and Indian War stuff.
All right. Take a look.
What are you painting these days?
Not much. Let's see. I was working on making some three-dimensional boards for Catan.
Oh yeah?
I don't know. I think I have two of them on commission at TTG. One on Broadway and one at the mall.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And
At the TCC?
say again?
At the Tucson and Gadgets?
Yeah, exactly. One at both of their locations, and I used ceramic 2-inch hex tiles that I got from I guess they're made for showers or bathrooms or something like that.
Huh.
So I
Okay.
used that as the base, and then Sculpey for the terrain.
Nice.
And then I struggled with the water effects, so I'm not very experienced with that stuff. So I switched to just pure silicone,
Oh yeah?
and that worked out pretty good.
That's what I was thinking about doing for water drain. Is simply getting some flat wood and then putting varnish on it. You know, like a just to simulate the water effect. There's so many horror stories about it dripping off and getting all over the place.
Yeah. Now the beads that you have to melt,
Yeah.
I don't recommend those because they give off toxic fumes. You know, when they age, they turn yellow. It's just a nightmare to work with. But if you want to make waves, silicone is the way to go. And if you're looking for just still water, like I tried to do some rice patties, then Vallejo makes a still water that's actually, you don't have to melt it or anything. It comes in a bottle and it dries pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I've been experimenting with some of the water effects.
Nice. I'll have to take a look at that when next time at your house.
Yeah. And then I'm working on a terraforming Mars board.
Mars.
Yeah. Have you played the game?
No, I've never played that game.
It's excellent, but it's out of print. It's sold out. Mark from Tucson Games and Gadgets has about 20 copies on order, and they sent him like one. You know,
well,
nobody can get their hands on it right now. But the premise is you're a corporation trying to terraform Mars and extract as much as you can from it before the other corporations do.
Is that Mission to Mars? Is that the name of that board game?
No, it's terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah. It's
Isn't there a board game called Mission to Mars that was about the same thing, but it's steampunk?
I think I've seen something like that, but this one just came out.
Okay.
Robert, who just moved to Alamogordo, he had a copy. I only got to play it once.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be cool if I could make a three-dimensional planet kind of escape for the board.
Nice. Huh. All right.
Yeah.
There's one board game I was thinking about doing that with, but I never got around to doing that. Is building a giant map for samurai swords. Model railroad train.
That'd be cool.
But I hardly get that game out on the table, so I'm thinking to myself, well,
Might not be worth it, huh?
yeah.
Well, I ordered a 12-inch half dome mold, and I filled it up with plaster today. It took a whole bucket of plaster. And I'm hoping that when it dries tomorrow, it comes out clean, and I'll be able to mount that to a wooden board and then start putting hexes on it. And
Nice.
then coat that with kind of like a red paint, maybe something like a whole red or a brown red,
Yeah.
and sprinkle it with some Martian looking dust. And then start building the terrain features from the actual map of Mars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't count sand. Sand is a good texture for that,
Yeah.
and you can go to any hardware store and go buy some playground.
Huh.
You get about 5 pounds of it for maybe $5 or $6.
Oh, that's a good deal. Because I've been buying the little jars from like Michael's and whatnot, and I burned through it pretty quick.
Yeah, it's regular sand that you get from the beach without the junk in it.
Nice.
Or if you're got a kid that you want to build a sand pit for in the backyard,
Yeah.
I got one of those bags. It might be more than 5 pounds. It might be 10 pounds, but time.
I did you ever play Shadows of Brimstone?
No.
No. It's kind of like let me see how I can describe it. It's a dungeon crawler with in the Old West with Lovecraftian opponents.
In the game, it looks pretty neat.
Yeah, beautiful models. And what I was doing is, in order to move these models to my friend's house or to TGG or whatever, I put them in these hard cases, and instead of using foam, I just put down some sheet metal. And the idea was to glue some magnets to the bottom of the models, and they would just kind of stand there. And that works great to transport them. But I found that on the board, as soon as you get a couple models close together, the magnets attract and they snap, and you got models flying everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be better off to do it the other way around
Yeah, that's
and glue the models to washers.
yeah.
And then in the transport case, just have strips of magnets and just
Yeah.
put the models down that way.
I ended up doing something like that. I tried finding washers, but they kept sending me these zinc or zinc alloy. It's difficult to actually find anything with actual iron in it.
Okay.
So what I did is I ordered a big bag of a couple kilos of iron dust,
Oh, wow.
and I mixed that stuff 50-50 with glue, and then I just kind of, slapped it into the bases. And when it hardens, it's magnetic.
I hope you're using an open space for that, because you don't want to breathe that
Yeah.
stuff in.
That iron dust can be pretty nasty, and it's pretty rough on the hands. Yeah, it'll tear up your skin.
I was just thinking about your lungs.
Yeah, I'm not breathing it,
Yeah.
but it did work very well. In fact, all my BattleTech minis have that base now. It makes them nice and heavy and stable. Yeah.
Now, do you have the classic BattleTech, or do you have the clicky BattleTech?
Well, here's the thing. I like the classic BattleTech game. So we play that. but I use the models from MechWarrior Dark Age.
So the clicky one, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But I pulled them off that clicky base, and I rebased everything on standard hexes.
I hope you repainted them too.
Oh yeah, most of them got repainted. There's a few that I was lazy with,
Yeah.
and actually about half of them are not even BattleTech. They're from a game called Cav that was released by Reaper.
Really?
Yeah, it was a Kickstarter a while back. Let me see if I can find a link. And I didn't even know what to do. I wasn't interested in the game, but I loved the model, so I backed the Kickstarter. And they sent me a few boxes of these mechs.
So I hear that is being published by Talon.
Yeah, there's another Kickstarter that came out that's a video game that's released this, and they're Talon something. And the beta comes out on June 1st. I backed it as well. It's a turn-based BattleTech game. And it looks great.
Nice.
I'm very excited about it. It plays a bit like XCOM with BattleTech.
Oh, I've never played Cav. But the fellow I was going to have on here, he had a social event he had to go to.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Tim Kalinowski,
Okay.
a miniature war game designer,
Yeah.
and he actually works for Talon Publishing now.
Really?
He was telling me that he's starting to get involved with the Cav.
Well, let me see if I can find a link for you to the Kickstarter. Uh-oh.
He was telling me it's a 10mm miniature game.
10 mil. No, these minis that I have are quite sizable. They put the standard BattleTech ones to shame.
But the scale is
I don't
10mm. So
Oh.
the pilots that are running them would be like 10mm tall.
Oh, okay. So the mechs themselves are like, 1.5 inches or something, or
It's quite a bit taller, he says. So
hang on, here we go. Reaper Miniatures Cav Strike Operations. I backed it for $100 back in, how if I know. Well, delivery was 2015. I guess I backed it in 2014. All right.
okay.
Let me see if I can send. I'm using 2 different browsers here. See if I can send this as a text message. Chat. And paste.
All right, so let me see here.
And let me send you the other one for the game that's coming out in June. It looks great. They had an hour demo of it with the latest video, and I didn't see any flaws in it. It didn't look like a beta. It looked like a finished product. All right, so updates.
See, I've never played with Kickstarter before, so.
Oh, you haven't?
I
Well,
don't have a login. It's asking me to log in, so.
oh, I see. No worries. Don't worry about it. No, I backed.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the philosophy of I'd like to have a proven game before anything. And there's hundreds of games out there that I haven't tried yet that have already been proven.
Yeah.
And I tend to be more of a cautious gamer because there where you buy, spend a bunch of money for a game and then it turns out to be utter crap.
Yeah. That did happen to me a few times. I'm not gonna
And to
lie.
me, I'm sure there's awesome Kickstarter programs that just it's kind of like throwing the dice to
It
me.
really is. You know, I backed a drone before they became kind of mainstream. It was kind of like a drone with a GoPro camera and a bracelet, so it would be able to track you and follow you around while you snowboarded or whatever. And the
Nice.
concept was amazing. You know, the footage looked really good. And these guys got backed for 34 something million dollars, and they never
Oh
shipped the
wow.
fucking thing. Um,
Really? They took their
yeah,
money and ran.
I mean, I'm out $900. They went through a class action lawsuit that's ongoing in California.
I don't want to turn off the shut-off thing.
It's a mess. So I understand why you might be reluctant to try it.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't pick anything up really. I thought I lost my camera connection.
Oh,
Let me see. So your name here, Landsknecht, that's a German
correct. Yeah.
polearm troop, isn't it?
Mercenaries during the Renaissance period.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I I play a Lance Connect in the SCA.
Oh, okay. Michael does that as well, I believe.
You know,
If I was
although I
built
still
for
have
it,
all my gear. What's up?
if I was built for it, I'd join you.
Yeah, I'm pretty obese right now. I need to lose some weight.
I'm the other way around. I'm a little frail to be messing with that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
getting old there. That's me.
Um,
But occasionally I go out there and drink with my buddies.
good deal. Um, I went to the archery range with Michael, who does SCA as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a British an English longbow he shoots. Um, and I shoot the
Huh.
Olympic recurve.
Oh, you have a Olympic recurve?
I have two of them actually. A 40-pound, which was my starter bow, and then I
Huh.
upgraded to a Super Kodiak by a company called Bear. They've been making bows since the 60s or something.
Hmm.
And
Nice.
I can handle it when I stay in shape and when I'm actively shooting, but otherwise it just kicks my ass.
Yeah. The only shooting I've done recently would be with my Mossberg.
Oh, I like the Mossberg.
Yeah.
Is it the 500?
It's a 12 gauge,
Right.
and yeah, I go up to the Pima County Fairgrounds, and they have skeeting.
Oh yeah.
So they got these towers that shoot out the clay pigeons
Right.
when you yell pull.
Hmm.
It's pretty fun.
I am really, really bad at shooting skeet. I'm a decent rifleman. I can shoot handguns for days. But skeet is something I never developed a knack for.
Uh,
And I
moving
just embarrassed
target.
myself. I have a Mossberg as well. I have the 590, the home defense model.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what model it is. I bought it used.
The 500 is one of the more common ones.
It's possibly that.
It's up there with like the Remington
I'd have to
870.
take a look. It's got a wooden stock. Looks nice.
Oh, very nice. Is it a double barrel or a pump action?
So pump action.
Probably the 500.
500's pump action.
It is.
Hmm.
You
Okay.
take 6 or 7 in the tube, I think. And
You got yours for home defense.
I did. I keep it loaded with non-lethals.
Oh, okay.
So they're heavy hitting rubber slugs, and then I have the actual slugs for it in a bandolier on the stock. So if I need to switch it out real quick, I can just slide one in. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if somebody breaks in, at least when I have to go to court, I can say I attempted not to kill the guy. I tried the non-lethal first.
Yeah, I've got birdshot on hand, but just in case things get bad, I've got buckshot,
That'll work.
which will make a mess of things. But I figure if I'm close,
To be honest, I wouldn't want to get shot with birdshot either. It sounds miserable. I'm sure that would dissuade just about anybody.
well, the nice thing about birdshot is if it does go off and it's in the home, worry about going through your wall and into your neighbor's home.
Right.
The birdshot will probably just lodge in your own wall.
I thought about I tried it out with the home defense rounds because they looked pretty flimsy. The non-lethals. I wasn't sure about these, so I tried one out in the house, and I shot a gong that I have, and it's sitting on my bookcase. And I thought, okay, it'll ricochet off the gong, and that'll be the end of it. And in my defense, I hit what I was aiming for, and it hit the gong, and it did ricochet off the gong, but it ricocheted off at an angle into the bookcase, went through the back of the bookcase, into the wall, almost all the way through to the exterior wall. And this was a tiny piece of soft rubber that looks like it came out of a 25-cent vending machine. I had no idea this thing would pack that kind of punch. So I got a whole new respect for this little piece of rubber. We had a plaster up the wall and throw some tape over the bookcase and move the gong a bit to hide it. Blue was not impressed.
Yeah.
But it was good times.
I haven't tried firing inside yet, though. I'm not sure if I want to try birdshot inside anyways.
Probably not advised. The puppies are sleeping to me.
What type of dogs did you get?
I have 2 of them. One of them, the old one, we got from the shelter, and she's kind of like a lab mutt, and she doesn't have any teeth.
Oh, no.
Well, very few teeth, I should say. So she didn't look too healthy when I got her from the pound, so I was like, yeah, I'll take a gamble on this one.
Yeah.
So we called her Gamble. And 2-3 years later, she's now overweight and doing fine.
All right.
And then we have a young pit bull who just turned about 1.
Oh, yeah.
And I got him at Starbucks from a adoption agency that hangs out there sometimes.
Oh, good. All right.
Do you have any dogs?
I've got 2 rescue dogs myself too.
Very cool.
I got a Cocker Spaniel mix,
Mm-hmm.
And boy, he's got a heart of gold, but hard as a box of rocks. Um, but to be fair, I'm kind of comparing him to my other dog, who's a border collie mix.
Oh, yeah, they tend to be smart.
Yeah, it's a totally different world with them.
Yep.
So I think
Husky.
he actually understands what we talk about too, which is kind of freaky.
That is kind of crazy. Yeah, let me see if I can pick this one up. Oh, come here, big boy. There we go.
Is that
This is the young
all
one.
right?
This one's Mugen.
I see the other one in the background.
Yep, and that one's Gamble. But Mugen was named after a anime character, a samurai.
Nice.
Very destructive. Just like this one.
Well, our border collie's name is Gandalf.
Gandalf.
You know, we figured that he's smart, so wizard's smart. And then other dog, the golden retriever cocker spaniel mix is Falcor.
Falcor, that sounds familiar too.
And it's the dragon from Neverending Story.
Ah, that's right.
And if you ever see him, you go, well, there you go. That's what he's got that name.
Here we go.
Yeah, precisely.
Big dog. So we played some Kingdom Death
Dogs
today.
are nice sized dogs, that's for sure.
Yeah, these are about 55 pounders.
Yeah. Bracket your dogs in weight. A Cocker Spaniel Golden Retriever mix, Falcor, he's about 30 pounds.
Okay.
And then our Border Collie mix, he's about seven. Actually, I know he's 70 pounds.
Big dog.
Just took him to the vet recently.
Gamble was 70 for a while until we put her on a diet.
Yeah. So it's possible that Gandalf has got pit bull in him. I'm thinking he's got pit bull in him, but my wife doesn't think so.
Mm.
It's because of his the structure of his skull.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the eyes that are wider set, like a pit bull. I'm thinking that statistics say that majority of strays these days and dogs in the shelter are pit bulls or pit bull mixes. So I'm thinking statistics are with me.
So many pit bulls.
My wife says no because of the fact that he's got the full coat of a border collie, short hair like a pit bull. So, but I'm thinking that the border collie long hair gene was more strong than the pit bull short hair.
Yeah, you got the dominant gene.
Yeah. But because he's not a full-bred border collie, he's not as neurotic as a standard border collie. He's pretty laid back.
These are both pretty lazy and cuddling.
Yeah. Labradors are renowned for being friendly dogs.
Oh yeah, they're great family dogs. Okay, big puppy. Get comfortable.
Well, thanks for coming.
Oh man, there's nothing to it. I mean, I just finished playing like 4 hours of Kingdom Death Monster.
Oh boy.
Have you played that one?
I saw the Kickstarter and I saw not the Kickstarter, the YouTube. I saw some folks who were reviewing that game. It looks pretty intense.
It really is. You can't get attached to your characters.
Yeah.
They tend to die very quickly. You know,
Yeah.
we had a population of like 13 starting out, and 4 missions later, we had 5 dead.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in fact, in the last mission, we were going up against a boss monster, and we knew we had no chance of winning. So we're like, okay, we're gonna send, instead of sending our best team and having a fighting chance of it, we're just gonna sacrifice 4 peons, and that's exactly what
And we
happened.
got chomped, huh?
They got destroyed.
Wow.
And I've been
Yeah,
running
it'd be
2
kind of an
BattleTech
interesting game to
campaigns.
play.
Huh?
That'd be an interesting game to play. I'd like to try that.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like Civilization meets Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have research and technology. You know, it's got a tech tree and a settlement aspect to it, and then it also has a kind of like a more tactical aspect to it as well.
Yeah. And it's got that lion with hands, with human hands, right?
That's right. That's the first creature you fight.
Oh boy.
Oh, you're stuck. Oh, thank you for the kisses. Okay. That can't be comfortable, puppy. You're gonna have to readjust.
How long does it take to play that game, anyways?
Well, we never beat it. And usually we play 1 fight per campaign session, I guess. So once a week we get together, we play it for a couple of hours, 1 mission. And the farthest we've gotten is about 15 missions in, which is about a quarter of the way through.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And our last settlement died by attempting to breed, actually. Yeah, the mother died in childbirth, killed the baby as well, and the father was so distraught that he wandered off into the darkness, never seen again.
Oh man.
And we were trying to breed our best fighters, of course, to try and pass on some of their traits.
Oh.
And it didn't work. So, settlement died.
Yeah, yeah. There's a game that's similar to that, where you're trying to survive. Try as well, called Robinson Crusoe.
Oh yeah. That's
Have you tried it?
more of a tile placement game though as well.
Yeah.
Exploration.
Have you played that game?
I played it once with Audric.
Huh.
What's the matter, puppy dog? What's the matter? I played it once with Audric. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I had to cut back on buying games actually,
Yeah.
since I haven't been working
gotta-
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that you get a massive collection, and then you wind up with games you don't play. You know.
You have a lot of games you don't play, you know? And I mean, we have like 8 games that we go to consistently, and then probably 30 or 50 others that just stay on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a collection that big, but
Okay, you're up. That's fine.
have at least 20 games that we don't go to very often.
Yeah.
Some of them that we've never even tried. So,
Yeah, I have, I don't know, probably half a dozen still in shrink wrap here. Mostly
oh, wow.
expansions. Mysterium was a fun game.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I've seen the box on the shelf, but I've never played it myself.
It's a lot of fun. It's co-op, and it's good for large parties. And so it's a ghost who was murdered, and the rest of the players are psychic investigators trying to solve this murder. And the only way the ghost can communicate is by giving out visions. And these visions are big tarot-sized cards, and they have psychedelic images, you know, very very dreamlandish and so forth, you know, very difficult to interpret. And he's trying to give them clues as to the person who killed him, the weapon, and the location. So it's a bit like Clue with LSD.
Oh, well, there you go.
A lot of fun.
The co-op game that we've been playing recently has been a game called Eldritch Horror.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
I think the politician
Yeah.
might be a bit overpowered.
What's up? What?
The politician character in the game, he has an
The
ability
magician?
to pass on objects and things to the other players.
Oh, the politician.
Yeah,
It depends on the players, though.
yeah. I enjoy the game. I think it's great.
Well, yeah, I think it's a fun game. We have all the expansions to that game.
I haven't cracked them open.
Oh yeah, we have it. We play it with all the expansions. It's a lot of fun.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
You know, I feel bad because some games have so much potential. You know, I crack them open, I get excited about them. I spend a couple weeks painting the damn minis on them or whatnot, and then I realize that the core mechanic of the game is flawed, and it's no fun to play.
No.
And now I'm left with a stack full of minis, you know, that I have to proxy in other games and stuff like that. Descent was like
Well,
that.
I don't know. Descent is a fun game.
It's okay, but I found that every mission comes down to the same thing: blocking. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just trying, and usually a time factor where the players have to
Yeah.
get to a location in a certain amount of time, and the GM is just throwing monsters into a hallway trying to block it, and that's what every mission seems to come down to. I didn't find it very enjoyable.
I see. I haven't played the first edition, but I have the second edition.
I'm trying to remember which one I have. But
The first edition came in
expansion packs for it. The minis look great.
Yeah. The edition came in a coffin box. But the second edition came in the normal size box.
Wake up, puppy. But Kingdom Death Monster, my only complaint is the minis might be a little too detailed. The figures all require extensive assembly.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like you're putting the inside of their forearm in, you know, you know, each hand. It's great because you can equip them in multiple poses with multiple weapons. different sets of armor. You know, they give you all the accessories for these models. So as your character progresses, which is kind of overly optimistic, you know, they would get different suits of armor and so forth. But it's such a pain to try and assemble these minis.
I bet.
You know, like some of the monsters have like 88 pieces to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was overkill.
Hey,
You played Tides of Iron.
Another game that was along the same lines that didn't do so well because of that was the Robotech RPG Tactics game.
I don't remember that one.
The miniatures for that game were overly complicated
Yeah.
because I was very interested in getting it. Multiple reviews were saying the same thing, that the miniatures were super hard to put together. I stayed away from it.
Yeah, probably a good call.
Yeah.
Dreadfleet. There's a good game.
Oh, why?
Dreadfleet? Do you know it? Yeah.
I haven't played that. Is that like the old Games Workshop Man of War?
Yeah, very much like that. It's a two-player ships based in the Warhammer fantasy universe. Surprisingly good game and good mechanics, and yet simple enough to teach quickly. And but my only complaint were the models were very delicate. The ships were easy to break. The masts. In fact, I broke off so many masts that just started taking finishing nails and you know, jamming them through the hulls and then painting over it and using the metal as the mast.
Well, there you go. You know, they make it more durable that way.
But not ideal. Put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting a game you expect to take it out of the box and play it, you're mistaken. You got weeks of assembly and painting to do before that happens.
Yeah. It's enjoyable to spend weeks, maybe months painting the stuff, but I don't know if it's the army itself. I'm not sure about, but if it's the terrain,
Yeah.
an extra time putting terrain together.
Mm-hmm. Do you airbrush a lot?
Nope, I am just a regular hand brushing.
I do both. Harbor Freight has a really cheap airbrush for like $10.
Oh yeah.
Surprisingly durable and really good for terrain. Not good for models, of course. The tips are a little too wide. But if you need to do something fast and quick and not show brush strokes, that's what I use.
Huh. Okay. Nice.
Finding the right paint that you can push through it can sometimes be difficult, but
yeah, I use pretty cheap paint, like the apple barrel.
Oh yeah, I have some of that. That's good for terrain.
Not necessarily good for going through an airbrush, though.
No, you probably couldn't push that through the airbrush. It'll clog or it'll splatter. But Tamiya it's a Japanese company, and their paints are high quality and affordable. And you get compared to like Vallejo and the other ones, you get a fair amount of paint, you know, for what you're paying for. And that you can airbrush. You cut it with alcohol instead of water.
Yeah.
And it's nice because the alcohol, when it mixes with the air, it dries very quickly.
Yeah.
So, with the airbrush, you're getting a very quick surface. What is it, puppy? You are snoring. All right, I'm gonna have to put you
on
in.
a project right now.
Yeah. What are you working on?
I'm just painting up miniatures right now.
What scale?
The model company lists it as 25 millimeter,
Mm-hmm.
but in reality, it's more like millimeter,
More like what?
28 millimeter scale.
Oh, okay. That's good. I like painting that size.
Yeah,
Any smaller becomes a little complex. Any bigger and the flaws start to show.
yeah, it depends. I mean, the smaller is better for if you have a lot of vehicles on the table,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
giant robots and tanks and stuff
Hmm.
is better for smaller scale.
I got
But
a
I mean, for skirmishing, it's ideal for 28 millimeter.
I got a surplus of trees that I got from China in the Z scale and N scale, and I've been using those for both the Catan boards and for BattleTech.
So you play Catan?
Yeah, I like the Cities and Nights expansion,
Okay, I
but
haven't played Catan in years.
yeah, it's a starter game, and that's why I thought that the boards I was making for it might move because everybody plays it. You know, it's an intro game.
Yeah,
A lot of people get into board gaming with games like that.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Um, it just requires three or four people.
Right,
It's just my wife and I play games, and that's why it never gets played because it's usually just the two of us.
exactly. Two-player
And
games. Mystic Veil is really good.
yeah,
You
the
play that
game
one?
that's similar to Catan that we play in, uh, which actually I think is better than Catan, is called Stone Age.
Huh, I've heard of that. I don't
Um,
have it though. I never played it.
yeah, it's also a Euro game. Euro game with dice, so there's a little bit of luck involved.
I like that.
So
Have you
yeah,
played Tide of Iron?
Tide of Iron? No, I've never played it.
It's
It's like
it's
an Axis and Allies game, isn't it?
it's similar to that. It's a two-player, um, and it's kind of like squad or platoon-based tactics. Um,
Does it play? Now I've played the game called Heroes of Normandy.
that I haven't played.
Um, that was actually a lot of fun. I didn't buy the game though because I already have like a bunch of World War II miniatures of this of 15 millimeter scale.
Right,
I'm like, I already got World War II game.
exactly. You really have to
But
stand out before
yeah,
I
I've
pick it
seen
up these days. A
what's up.
game really has to stand out before I pick it up these days.
Yeah, I see the Tide of Iron. I'd like to give it a try. I've never tried it before.
Well, I have the base game and then the Normandy expansion and the Desert Fox expansion, and then a couple of the map packs that come with it. Um, and it's pretty nifty. It's got some interesting mechanics. You know, where you can build up command points to do an airdrop or artillery bombardment or things like that. Take advantage of a situation, and it's got points to control sometimes. Um,
Hmm.
and different victory conditions where you might not know what victory condition your opponent has. Makes it interesting.
Huh. Okay.
And I think the largest, it goes from a squad up to a tank. So and different everything in between. But you're not going to have entire like a core or anything like that. It's really at the platoon level. Fun to play.
Sounds like it.
What?
Is it like the Command and Colors type game? What do they call it?
Yeah, it was.
Memoir 44?
I haven't played that one, but it's probably pretty similar. Maybe something closer to like Squad Leader from back in the day, or I can't remember.
Okay.
Watch yourself, puppy. All right, you're down. Go cuddle with Gamble.
Squad Leader had a lot of rules, that's for sure.
Yeah, this one, this one had a few.
Yeah.
Let's see what else? I like painting up the models for Scythe. I don't know if you've played that one.
For what?
Scythe?
Scythe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like the steampunk game with the giant robots, right?
Yeah, exactly. I like that one.
Played that before. I'd like to try that out sometime.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a. You ever played Star Wars Armada?
No, I've seen it played.
Uh,
I played X-Wing.
well, X-Wing's a lot of fun too.
I dropped out of it right around like the third release, when they started coming out with a lot of the Scum and Villainy faction.
Yeah.
Just because it looked like it was getting to be a bit of a cash grab, and to where the new models that were being released overpowered the older ones, where it didn't seem like it was viable to field a fleet of the older models, and the new ones were coming out with so much better.
Yeah. I have to say yes and no to that.
Mm-hmm.
My experience with that is the starter box. You get X-Wings and TIE Fighters.
Yeah.
And I tried using the X-Wings, and they are kind of underpowered compared to the newer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the TIE Swarm is still a list to be reckoned with, and that's straight out of the original starter box. Getting 8 TIE Fighters out there.
I've never seen that actually work, although my experience with the game is limited. I found that the shields on the X-Wings, especially when you put them with an R2-D2 unit who's regenerating the shields, is very tough to beat. And although I agree, I don't use too many X-Wings, but I tend to run a lot of E-Wings.
Oh, okay. And that's something I don't have experience with is the E-Wings.
It's my favorite.
I don't think
of the
one.
The what?
I don't own a single E-Wing, so you have me at a disadvantage for that one.
Take a look at them. They they have a decent attack, defense. They have a good dial, and shields. And I would take an E-Wing over an X-Wing any day of the week.
I'm sure they're better than the standard X-Wing. I did kick around with an X-Wing build list for a while, but I was getting more losses than wins by far.
So
but it was just a fun list because if I was going to get someone who wasn't expecting it, I would surprise someone with it, with
Right.
that I had. And it surprised people that I was playing with in a 100-point list.
Mhm.
I had obviously Wedge
Wedge is excellent.
and
So good.
Wedge Antilles, and then I
Yep.
had Hobby and Wes Jensen.
Hmm.
I would put Veteran Instincts on Wes Jensen.
Okay.
I'd put was it Opportunist
Okay.
on Wedge and Hobby.
Hmm.
Hobby was something like a 6, and then Wedge is a 9,
Right.
and then Wes is an 8. But I bumped him up to a 10
Hmm.
instincts.
Right.
And his ability is when he shoots at someone, you get to take that the target's was it the so the whether they get
Any
a
basic?
dodge or a focus marker,
Yeah.
you can take that off when he shoots at them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And does is it allows you to take a stress to be able to throw an extra dice in shooting.
Oh, that's damn good.
If you're shooting at something that doesn't have a focus or dodge marker on it.
So that forces your opponent to always have one, but you're taking them off.
So I try to line my 3 X-Wings up to fire at one ship
Hmm.
away. Which, if my opponent was expecting it, would not give me that opportunity. But if I was going against someone who wasn't expecting it, something big of theirs would pop.
Right.
I one turned an Imperial shuttle that way that had Palpatine on it,
Oh, wow.
and the guy just had no idea what just happened to him. He was like, "What?"
I've never seen the shuttle work. I have one. I think it's a great model. I just have no idea how to make the damn thing work. It's a support vehicle that doesn't support shit. I honestly, I can't make the thing work.
People do is have a base model, you know, low pilot skill shuttle
Mhm.
with Palpatine on it.
And what does it do?
And Palpatine allows you to pick one die per turn
Mhm.
to reroll, which is incredibly powerful.
Is
Is
it-
either reroll or move it to a hit or a dodge.
That's pretty good.
I don't remember which one it is, but boy, Palpatine is like one of the most powerful broken game. And just
So why
having
put
him
him on a
sit in the
shuttle?
shuttle
Can't stick him on anything else?
it has to have 2 passenger slots. So the shuttle, I think, only has that, and then the Imperials don't really have anything else. 1 passenger slot in the on that decimator, but
Oh, the BT-49 or whatever.
yeah,
I never got that to work either.
I have one, but I've never tried it. I've got a lot of ships that I have never tried.
I have a Corvette. Oh, that's nice. That's the what do you call that? The
Assault carrier.
assault carrier. Yeah, very nice
And,
paint job.
Gazadi class cruiser. I don't really consider it a cruiser. It's more of a fighter tender to me,
Yeah.
I want to play with the big, huge ships, but at the store, nobody wants to play anything but 100-point games.
That's no fun, man. I've gone up to 150, 200 easily. And if you're running the Corvette, that's 90 points before you put anything on it.
There you go. And that's the Imperial, or that's the Rebel Corvette, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We ought to do
the back is 45 and the front is 45, and you got to have both. So, yeah.
You still have that?
I still have it.
Do you have a lot of Rebel stuff?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I got out relatively early. As soon as when they started running the dual, what is the ship that can mimic another of its class? It's like an IG-88 ship or something like that, or.
Oh yeah, I don't have any of those. I know what you're talking about.
Villainy faction or something like that. That's when I got out.
Yeah, the thing about that particular ship, though, is I think they purposely made it like a 34 or 35-point ship, so you can't field more than 2 of them,
right,
in a 100-point list, which I think was pretty sly.
Well, it's not just that, but it's a marketing scheme. You know, this ship works great, but only if you have 2 of them. So you have to buy 2.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't have either one. I don't have even a 1, but I fell for the marketing scheme because it's Star Wars, and
yeah,
how should I say, my acquisition disorder was triggered with the X-Wing.
I think it had a good premise, and I still enjoy it. You know, Blue Sun plays it a little bit. I bought him some models.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's an Air Force guy, so he loves anything with aircraft and whatnot. And he also loves Star Wars.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Are you free this Saturday?
What's that?
Are you free this Saturday?
I don't know. Blue's coming back into town tomorrow night. I have to see what she's got planned for the weekend. Every other weekend we tend to do like a big cleaning project of some type.
Oh, okay.
And I think this is going to be the weekend, just because the house is starting to look a little rough.
I was just saying, if you want, I mean, you can come on over here and we'll play a big X-Wing game.
You would totally school me. I'd have to take a 50-point handicap, I'm afraid, or something like that.
Well, I've got a ton of Rebel stuff you can use too.
I have a lot of stuff. I don't mind bringing it. I'm just saying it would not be competitive at all, and you wouldn't get any pleasure out of an easy victory, I'm afraid.
Well, I don't play as much X-Wing games as you think.
You know, I've lost more games than I've won. I have a tendency to fly myself off the map. And a lot of my wins are more luck than skill in formations.
You want to bring Tide of Iron over here?
Yeah, that would be fun. If let me get back to you on that, just because I don't know what's going on this weekend. But I'd have to go over the rules real quick. It's been a while since I played it, but it's a good game.
Now, the thing is, my wife has plans during the day.
Yeah,
she's going to be babysitting our granddaughter, so we can do wargaming during the day, and then at night, if Blue is available, obviously she'll be invited, and we could do a gigantic Eldritch Horror game or something like that.
Okay, I'll bring it up with Blue. I just have to make sure that we don't have any commitments first. She tends to be the my secretary, keeping all the appointments and everything straight because my memory is shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some head injuries back in the day.
Oh no.
Yeah, now my memory it's like 2-3 days back. Forget about it.
Oh no.
So she's really good about helping me out with that. And so I trust her usually to make the appointments and to keep me up to date on what needs to happen.
All right.
But yeah, this weekend, honestly, I have no objections to it. It sounds good. I just don't want to commit to something without knowing. But I should be able to give you an answer by tomorrow night.
That's cool. All right. And then what I'll do, let me take us off live.
Okay.
This is the end of our live session.
I didn't know we were live.
Watching.